Steve, we are now at the main event, really. The main attraction. ACW really pulled out all the stops for this event. January 4th. If you've not gotten tickets yet, please go out, get your tickets. That way, for your own sake, you can say you were there the night you saw for the first time ever.
First time ever, man.
First time
crazy,
ever.
Right? Another first time. You don't get many first times anymore.
Listen, Awesome Championship Wrestling presents Poughkeepsie Rumble featuring TNA, let me just say that again, TNA champion Nic Nemeth.
World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes, absolutely. Defending his title for the first time against Matt Riddle in a must-see main event. There is nothing more main event than what I just said. Nic Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, versus Matt Riddle. What do you expect when you heard about ACW? You knew it was going to be a big event. Did you think it was going to be this big with that top caliber of a TNA person versus somebody who, a year ago, 2 years ago, was also in WWE?
Yeah, so you're having like two former WWE stars, a current TNA star, and a few weeks ago, if you would have told me about this match, I'd have been like, the obvious choice is Nic Nemeth, because I doubt Riddle could win it. I doubt Riddle would have a chance, maybe not really being in TNA, and I kind of thought to myself, anything can happen, right? But then I put on TV a few weeks, and then look who walked in the door to TNA, none other than Matt Riddle. So Matt Riddle is a part of everywhere right now. He's been former WWE, former MMA, current MLW, and now he's stepping his foot into TNA, and now to get a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match against somebody he's never had a match with is going to be exciting. I mean, as a wrestling fan, of seeing a first-time ever match of two guys who never had the chance to go against each other, but not going against just each other, they're going against each other for a championship of the world of another company. So it's amazing because these two guys too, I think, have to be the workhorses, I think, of their generation. These two guys can do anything. They can walk the walk. They could talk the talk. They could do anything and everything. They can work with anybody and everybody. I think this is a great matchup of these two. They're kind of like it's opposite, exact mirror image of each other in a way of work ethic, athleticism, agility, anything. Like these guys are evenly matched, and I think anything can go with this one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring in like a little bit of a scenario for you. I'm seeing like the Nic Nemeth versus Matt Riddle as like a modern day Brett versus Shawn. And I know you're a big Brett fan.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a Shawn guy. But like I see Nick as the Brett. Mm-hmm. Or I see Nick as the Shawn, a little flashier. I see Matt as kind of the Brett, a little more technical or whatever. However, I'll just say that like I don't want to completely fangirl out, but like to see Nic Nemeth in Poughkeepsie as the main event of this, it does something. It makes me, it's such a legitimate thing that's happening here. It's bringing professional wrestling back to Poughkeepsie and doing it in a major way. And this match, again, I can sit here and say that the Rumble is going to be my favorite, or the the Cruiserweight is going to be my favorite. The women's match, they're all going to be fantastic. But how do you top this? And it's just one of those things that it's putting Poughkeepsie back on the map, and it's putting ACW in the forefront. And you're going to be talking about, where were you when you saw Matt Riddle take on and
for the first time ever for the championship,
Nic Nemeth. So, do you have I know that you are familiar with both these guys. Do you have a favorite going into this match?
I love both of these guys because I have to talk a little bit about Nick really quick because let's go back to WrestleMania 29 where everybody wanted him to cash in at WrestleMania and didn't happen. It happened the night after, on the Monday after WrestleMania, where he cashed in his briefcase and became world champion. And now fast forward many years later, he's actually the world champion of TNA coming in to having a match here. And it's almost like I don't know, like an old saying, like he's come full circle for me, I guess, with his career, to where I didn't get to see him be a world champion at that time, but now I get to see him be a world champion, and it's really bittersweet, I think, for me to see that happen. I think, for Nic Nemeth alone, he's been underrated throughout his whole entire career. I remember everybody always talking about him, like, man, this guy's a workhorse. He's like, for the IC championship where that's like the workhorse title or whatever, Nic Nemeth was always that guy. He's the guy that can work with anybody, talk with anybody, do anything. He was great all around. And then when Matt Riddle came in, you know, I didn't have too much knowledge of him. I saw him at some local wrestling shows over here. I heard about his MMA background, and then I got to see him. You know, the guy's kind of reminds me, you said Bret Hart, it's like the Bret versus Shawn. I kind of see Riddle as the new RVD, where RVD had the 420 gimmick a little bit, kind of like Riddle has now. But, you know, he's doing incredible stuff at what he's doing. And he reminds me more of like an RVD at this time. So if you give me, like, it's almost to me like a Shawn versus RVD in a way.
Sure.
But I still see that Bret correlation to where, you know, you're seeing what we're seeing with this. But two of the best athletes at it today are going to be ever. You know, one of these guys that are going to have historic careers, already have historic careers, are on their way to Hall of Fames at the end of the rainbow. These guys are two of the best around. And I mean, it's not too often that you get two of the best going at it for the main event in our city, right? So it's in our back door. I'm excited for this match because it's another match where I have no idea what's going to happen. And like I said, a few weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, I could see Nemeth, of course, pulling off a victory here. But then I saw Riddle walk in the back door at TNA, and now I'm like second guessing myself. I'm like, you know what? Anything could happen, and especially if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, absolutely, and that anything that can happen. Like, we know that WWE has got a little bit of a relationship right now with TNA.
Yep.
So what happens when you come to ACW and see Nic Nemeth and Matt Riddle, and then the next month you watch the Royal Rumble, and one of these guys that you just saw at ACW maybe later, pops up.
Exactly.
You know, that's what's so awesome about wrestling right now and this time that we're living in. You know, I think sometimes we're spoiled. I think sometimes that we have high expectations, but like for me, it's that like guessing what's going to happen, who's going to win on that night. And this match right here, you know, again, if I had to put money down right now, I'm going Nemeth. I'm a Nemeth guy. I've been a Nemeth guy since OVW, since the Spirit Squad, all those things. Huge fan. Riddle's a little bit of an unknown. I mean, I've seen what he can do, but like not in this sense, and not when there's something to prove, and not when there's something on the line. I want to see if the cream actually will rise to the top. That's a little bit of a throwback to the Macho Man, but I'm just saying, to January 4th, we're going to see who walks away with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
No, for sure. You know, we talked a lot about former WWE guys, right? After their WWE tenure, usually when we see guys after they do their WWE run, go on to greener pastures, if you will. But these guys have stayed at the top of their game, even leaving that WWE train to still rise to that top, right? Like they were still atop anywhere they go. And to see them in awesome championship wrestling, I think is, you know, definitely what's needed here in our city, in our town. This is what we wanted. We've been talking about it for years. It's going to be in our backyard. This is ACW.com. I don't know why you don't have tickets by now. The show's happening in like hours or weeks or days. Come on, guys. Get your tickets, because this show that we've talked about all week, of all these matches, of all these people that you can see, it's a one night only kind of a thing here. You know, you don't know what's going to happen. No. You never know. All these surprises. There's going to be surprises. There's going to be people that you don't know or that you know. I'm ready for wrestling, man. It's 2025. I'm ready for wrestling in my backyard in Poughkeepsie. And
this show specifically, we've mentioned it. There's a lot of firsts, but there's no more important first than this is the first ACW event. Hopefully the first of many, but we will see. And this is Poughkeepsie, New York. Go get your tickets if you haven't already.
That's right, guys. So stay tuned. Check us out. Another wrestling podcast. Check us out, guys. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us on all podcasts on YouTube. But more importantly, make sure you check out beaconpodcasting.io. Beacon Podcasting right in Beacon, New York, right off of 84, right near the Metro North train station. If you want a podcast just like another wrestling podcast, but not another wrestling podcast, maybe you could do another kind of a podcast. And if you want to do it here, guys, because I ain't doing this on my own. I'm doing it with the help from Sal at Beacon Podcasting. This is the place where you want to be, guys. So if you want a podcast and doing what we're doing, come on out to Beacon Podcasting. This is where your dreams will come true. And we'll see you on January 4th in Poughkeepsie.